I really need to start adding some more variety in these YouTube videos, more angles, more different places around the room. I mean, there's not a whole lot of room here anyway, but, you know, it's worth trying. So we're going to experiment with some camera angles today. That'll be fun. But today we're not talking about camera angles, we're actually talking about editing. I get a lot of questions about editing and editing tips and how to better edit videos. And so today I thought I'd share with you a list of my 5 tips for beginning editors. Let's dive into it. And just as a disclaimer before we get into it, this is tips for beginning editors, people who are just getting into editing. So if you are an experienced editor, these things, they'll still apply, but there might be things you already know or have already realized. But if there is something I've left out of this list that you think is important, drop it in the comments down below. I'm sure that would be insanely helpful to a lot of people. All right, let's start off with tip number 1. We're talking about something that is so exciting, so amazingly fun. Software. It's incredible. Now, software is going to be like your weapon of choice. You know, the Jedi go with the lightsaber, you know, knights go with the long sword, you know, Legolas, he'll go with the bow. You know, you have different weapons of choice, and that's what this software is all about. So when it comes to editing software, pick your tool of trade, pick your weapon of choice, because we're going to have a few options. Now, if you are brand new to editing, you've never touched the timeline before, you've never gotten into, you know, effects or transitions or anything like that, I say we keep it simple, and I would recommend going with iMovie. iMovie is going to be the easiest, most simple editing software for you to start out with. You don't have a very clunky UI, you don't have anything crazy going on, you don't have any super insane effects or transitions that are going to be distracting and overwhelming for you. When you're starting out editing, keeping it simple and keeping it light is going to be, I feel, a lot better of an experience starting out. And what's great about software like iMovie is it's actually going to give you an opportunity to basically kind of get the fundamentals of editing down, you know, just cutting clips apart, just, you know, just chopping clips up, and then working with transitions, some basic effects, you know, just something very simple that can get you a strong foundation built. That's important. And if iMovie is not your cup of tea, you can also hop into an editing software like DaVinci Resolve. I believe that is also free. I haven't used it myself, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. And just kind of looking at some of the tutorials of it, it looks like it's very simple to use. So that's also another alternative if you're not a fan of iMovie. But now that you've been using iMovie, DaVinci Resolve, you're starting to feel like this is a little limiting. There's not as many tools as you'd like to have in iMovie. You wish you could do these kind of different things in your edits. That means it's time to upgrade. Now we're getting into the big boy software. We are getting into Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere. These two are the most popular editing tools for YouTubers and independent filmmakers today. Now, both of these softwares, essentially what they're going to do is they're going to add more tools to your tool belt. It's like Batman with his utility belt. You're just going to have so much stuff. It's like, boom, it's got so much going on. Now, what makes them so powerful and what makes them so versatile is they both allow for third-party plugins. What that means is you can actually add stuff like this and stuff like this through a third-party plugin. The callout as well as the lower third were part of a package that I had bought and installed into Final Cut Pro. It opens up so much that you can do with editing, and it's pretty fantastic. Now, there are websites that do sell plugin packages, prices kind of vary, or there are websites that just straight up give away plugins for free. There are some fantastic plugins that just make life super easy to where I don't have to animate anything. I can just download the plugin, put it into my timeline, and it's good to go. So what do you choose, Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere? Well, honestly, it's gonna boil down to your personal preference. Personally, for me, I like Final Cut Pro. It works well with Apple products. It looks very familiar with iMovie, which is what I started editing on, so it had a very similar user interface, but it had more tools to be used, and so I was like, it made more sense for me to go with Final Cut. But Adobe Premiere is also still a fantastic option. Now, I think what it boils down to is price. Final Cut Pro is it's $300. Yikes. Well, to use Adobe Premiere Pro, you need to have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, which is $20 a month. Now, with that Adobe Creative Cloud, subscription, you get Photoshop, you get Premiere, you get After Effects, you get a lot of cool stuff with the Creative Cloud. But for me, I would have rather just paid one time. That was it. Not a huge fan of the subscription service model when it comes to Adobe, but it is what it is. And again, you can choose whichever one fits your situation better. If you like the subscription service, if that works for you, if you already have the Adobe Creative Cloud, perfect, that works. But if you're like me and you just want to use that one-time payment, Final Cut would work as well, and I think Apple runs sales on software periodically anyway. So with software, you want to start light, and you want to work your way up, and then you can really start getting into some cool editing techniques and really cool editing effects. I mean, there's a lot you can do, and you can make your videos look super cool. Whew, that was a longer tip. I think that was the longest tip in this video. Hold on, I need some water. All right, tip number 2, keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts will actually save your life when editing videos. It will save you so much time in the edit. So I definitely recommend going into the settings of whatever software you're using and definitely checking out the keyboard shortcuts, getting to know them or changing them to your liking. It's super important to know those because it's gonna save you a lot of time in the edit process. Okay, tip number 3. This has to do with your editing style. Your editing style is what's gonna separate your video from any other videos. Now first, if you're just starting, it's okay not to know what your style is. I mean, it takes time to develop that. So if you're kind of trying to think of like, what is your style? What kind of style do you want to have? Well, I'd recommend looking at different videos and different content creators or other styles of editing that you really like. For example, videos that I kind of model mine after in terms of editing style, definitely Harris Heller and Peter McKinnon. Those are just 2 guys that I try to edit similarly to. Now, those are 2 creators whose styles I really like, and so I try to combine the 2 to make it work, and then eventually I kind of made it my own style. And that's what happens when you try to, mimic a style, try to take inspiration from it, and then eventually you kind of go, oh, let's try this, let's do this, and then that style becomes your own, and it becomes unique. So don't be afraid to mimic or copy a style because honestly, every editor is a little bit different, so even if you do have a similar style to another creator, it's still going to be different because it's you. And like I said before, you're going to end up developing your own style anyway. Whoa. Tip number 4. Learn to plan ahead. Planning ahead is going to help you out so much in your editing process that when you are out filming and you know what you're going to film, it's going to help you out so much when you know what it is you're going to film and what it is you're going, what you want the video to look like. When you know what you want it to look like and you can visualize it in your brain, then it's going to be able to come out in the edit a lot better, and you're going to be able to film it, know exactly what you want, and it's going to look good. Now, I would definitely recommend putting pen to paper, try to figure out what you want that video to look like. Take bullet point notes, take some, outline it, just try to figure out what it is and try to visualize it and put it on paper, because that way you can kind of get a list of different things that you want to shoot. So that way when you get into the edit, everything is nice and organized and neat, and you don't have to spend so much time trying to jumble all these clips around wondering where the heck did these go. You already know it. Now, when I make these YouTube videos, I kind of just make a general outline. I don't go very detailed as to, okay, I want this camera angle, and I want this shot here, I want that camera there. I don't really go super in-depth. Many creators do. Many creators go as far as to creating an entire shot list. Like, hey, I want a narrow shot here, I want a wide shot here. They will go that far to plan out their video. But for me, it works a lot better if I just generally outline a video. For some people, it does really help to have, a more detailed outline, just typed out or written out, whatever you want to do. Or you can just kind of bullet point it out what you want to do and go from there. But I will say, the more detailed you are, the more organized you're going to be, the faster the edit is going to be, and the video is going to look exactly the way that you want it to look. There are times where I thought a video looked good when I outlined it and I filmed it, but then I put it in the edit and it just didn't look good. Sometimes it happens. And also, it's super important to plan ahead just because you never know what's going to happen with your footage. For example, the 5 things that I wish I would have known before streaming video that I released a couple weeks ago. I had to film that video twice because the first time I was completely out of focus and it was I couldn't use the footage, so I had to re-film the entire thing the next day. So, it happens. Planning ahead. It's smart. All right, tip number 5. Practice, practice, practice. The more you edit, the better your editing is gonna get. When I first started editing these YouTube videos, it took me around, I would say 5 to 6 hours of just total amount of time it took me to edit a video, and now I've kind of gotten that down to about 2 to 3 hours. So, and just through sheer practice, I've been able to cut my work time in half and be able to get videos out faster. And at first, the videos you edit, they're not gonna be fantastic. It's okay, neither were mine. My first vlogs were so terrible. They were so cringy. Oh, man. But as you progressively get better and better and better, you'll learn better techniques. You'll be able to edit things a lot smoother. You'll be able to use effects a lot better. Your videos are gonna look a lot better, and it's just, overall, the quality will improve. And just looking at my previous few videos, it's been nice to see kind of the quality start to continue to go up just a little by little every video, which is encouraging to see. And so I'm kind of proud of that progress is being made. So at the end of the day, editing is just one of those things that you're just gonna get better with time, and it requires a lot of practice. So keep practicing, keep editing, you're gonna get better, your workflow is gonna get faster, I promise. But practice is really, oh shoot, we're over here now. Who planned these camera shots, man? Nobody told me I'd have to move across the room. But anyway, those are my 5 tips for those of you who are beginning editors out there. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. I will try my best to be as helpful as possible. And if you're an experienced editor, and if there's anything you feel like I left on this list, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. It will be insanely valuable to a lot of people. And if you have any questions and you want to ask me live, I do stream on Twitch, so be sure to go ahead and follow the Twitch channel and turn on notifications. You know when I go live, and I can answer any questions about editing, talk about editing tips, that kind of thing. But with that, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more stuff like this, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one, everybody.